week live interview. We are back again. We had a session in the morning that was quite something. We had so many speakers that spoke some value and added, so much knowledge to the one that we already have. And now we are having a session with Mr. Sizwe Maduna here, who is quite an inspiration. Mr. Sizwe, you are an inspiration because of your journey, your story. I'm one to attest to it because when I met you, you were actually
Mm.
building a business, and now as we are speaking, you are in a different space. So I'm not gonna take that away from you. I'm gonna allow you to introduce yourself and tell us the story.
All right. Thank you, Ashley. It's very, very excited to be here. It's a great opportunity for me. Hi, guys. My name is Sizwe Maduna. So what do I say? I'm a young entrepreneur. It's been a pretty crazy ride for me. I actually started with the idea of having my own startup. It was pretty insane idea, but I got connected with a few investors, started talking to them, and I came across one who told me that my idea is pretty crazy, but it may just work. But no one's going to give me the money in order to make my dreams come true. So I had to find the next big thing, and I went the direction of digital marketing. And through that, I got to learn a whole host of things that I would have never learned otherwise. And my idea was if I can start a small business that can be able to grow my connection, or be able to grow me some funding that I can be able to use in order to push into my venture, then I'll be sorted. But things didn't go as planned, but that's normally how these things go. You start with one thing, you end up with another. It's how these things work. And now I'm the chief digital officer of an amazing startup called Space. What we do is we revitalize organizations, and we enable leaders to co-create with the employees in this new world of working. Yeah.
Great. I just love it. I love the story. This way, you are
Yeah.
18 years old, man. You are 18 years old. You are still a student, but you are
Yeah.
out here. You are building businesses. You are working for a startup, and you're obviously learning a lot more of
Mhm.
skills in a better space, so that when you do go out and retry your hand at business, you are more qualified, more experienced to make it a success. So I commend you on being
Oh,
proactive, not waiting to finish your schooling years to then get into the working world. Because as we
yeah.
know, I did that. I waited until I was done, and then I was like, okay, my big job is coming. My friend
Yeah.
have been waiting for 5 years right now for my big job to come. So I commend you on going out of your way
Thank you.
and being proactive and not waiting to send CVs when you are already sitting at home.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
well
Yeah.
done on
Yeah.
that. Just before we get into the order of the business today, I just wanted to start by touching some of the challenges that you are facing, trying to juggle school,
Mhm.
business, and still you have got, other commitments like family and friends and
Yeah.
all that. How is that going for you?
I'll be honest. It's very difficult. I honestly would not recommend that anyone try it unless if you were really crazy like I was. But then, yeah, it's jumping into the deep end and trying your best to stay afloat. It does come with a bit of burnout here and there, but I've learned to manage it thanks to my great mentor and CEO, Mish. She's been a very good friend. And manager as well. He's been able to guide me through it all, and honestly it's very tough. I'm a person that really is terrible at time management, so being able to do this has taught me a lot in that regard. Placing things in order. I'm stopped being such a chaotic person, and it's been a really tough journey learning that time management aspect, and it's has been really impactful. I don't think I would have been able to make it if I did not jump into the deep end like I did. Reason being is you learn very well once you're there. It's always one thing to plan and be like, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do that, but it's very different once you're really in the pool, right? It's very
Yes.
very it's a different game. So I've just been lucky that I was able to jump in at the time that I did. and I was able to learn so much from not only being in the business, but learning so much from my clients and the connections that I've been able to make, and connecting with you obviously last year, you being an influential part of my journey as well. It's been very difficult, but very, very exciting and very, very rewarding. I think it's still, I'm still starting. I haven't been there yet. I haven't made it yet. So yeah, it's coming off. It's coming off well, and luckily I'm done. Or not yet done. I still have 2-3 weeks left of school, and then I'll be able to focus solely on business, which will be very exciting.
I'm excited for you. I'm excited for you to complete the last exams that you have.
Thank you.
And I'm not giving you a chance here. I want to see flying colors, man. I'm not taking any excuses. I don't care if you are busy with business. I want to see flying colors. And I'm really proud of you. I have to mention that I'm proud of you. I
No,
mean,
thank
you are very
you.
proactive. Even the way that we met, you reaching out to me on LinkedIn, and
Yeah,
us now being in this live. And I mean, obviously we can unpack what has happened between the time that we met until now, but
yeah,
there's been a lot of connections, there's been a lot of relationship building, and that is just great.
um,
So I just want to encourage other young people who are your age to also get involved.
yeah.
I wasn't thinking like you when I was your age, so that's definitely there's something you're doing right.
Hmm.
So Cesar, let's just now dive right into the order of the day. So
Hmm.
within the Global Entrepreneurship Week. We know that it started on the 8th,
Yeah,
on
yeah.
Monday this week, and it's a 7 day. So until the 14th, the Global
Hmm.
Entrepreneurship Week will still be going on.
Uh-huh.
Although we as Connect Southern Africa only did 3 events, which was on Monday, Wednesday, and today in the morning. And in
Hmm.
between, we have been hosting these lives, and we've just been unpacking the themes of the Global Entrepreneurship Week. So just for those that do not know what the themes are, I'm pulling the screen right now, and it's just gonna show you right now that there are four distinct themes of the GEW 2021, which is policy, education, ecosystems, and inclusion. So we're saying, what are the policies that can help entrepreneurs thrive and succeed? What kind
Yeah,
of education do they need to receive for them to be successful? What ecosystems are in place to support them on the journey of entrepreneurship and
yeah.
inclusion? Is everyone included? Are we getting more women included? Are we getting more youth included? And that speaks to your journey as well as a young person getting involved, within this space. I've got a comment coming through from Facebook. I'm just going to show it now, and then we can just unpack that before we move forward. Great to see youth like Sizwe pushing the agenda of entrepreneurship whilst having a full plate. It's so inspiring. That's from Brandon Elijah. Thank you so much, Brandon, for that feedback. And I mean,
Thank you,
it's
Brandon.
it's so
Yeah,
true. It's really inspiring to see what you are doing, Sizwe. And we are here to encourage you to not stop. It's not going to be easy. It's never going
yeah.
to get easier. It's the more you grow, the more responsibilities you're going to have. And you might be having different challenges now, but
Hmm.
when you overcome those challenges, you're going to have a better set of challenges.
Hmm.
And the bigger the challenges, that also means the bigger the impact that you're going to produce once you find solutions to those challenges.
100%. Yeah.
Right. So now let's talk about taking the first step as an entrepreneur, and
Hmm.
learning to fail within that process.
Yeah.
What has been your first step? Like, what is it that triggered you? What was it that said, no, Sizwe, you have to start a business?
Well, in all honesty, I was a person that always loved watching YouTube videos. Most of my time was spent watching YouTube videos. Fun fact, actually, my father has this cool iPad that he uses for work, and so his data and whatnot is supplied to him by his employers. And one thing about that is there's some limited data, but then it's not mentioned. And what I did was for about a span of 2 years, what I did is I used up so much data that it ended up being 36,000 rands under. And my father was told that he has to pay
What?
back. Yeah, so he had to pay back that 36,000 rand. So, but then, in all honesty, I don't regret it one bit. Because why? Thing is, it has helped me so much being able to watch all that YouTube content. If you looked at my YouTube history, it's always been entrepreneurship, fun facts, all these sort of interesting things. I've always been a person that was very interested in learning. And when I started my business, I was seeing these videos of these 17-year-olds, so people my age, starting businesses and giving it a crack. And I became very intrigued. I saw myself as this person, as a entrepreneur sitting at home saying, one day I'll start it one day. And I thought maybe let me give it a start. I wasn't sure what I was going to do, but having that knowledge and being exposed to so many things, I thought, let me give it a go. I started trying to do drop shipping. I took all these courses, and I thought this was going to be the biggest thing ever, right? To my surprise, it already was the biggest thing. I was really late to the party. But then I failed in that. But then I still did not give up. One thing that they didn't tell you when taking those courses, that you really had to learn things about marketing and sales in order to be successful at dropshipping, things I did not know at the time. So in those failures, I learned that I had to learn all these components that will lead me in order to be able to start a successful venture and move forward in my career. So I then came across this video about a guy advertising this new concept called drop servicing. So essentially what you would do is you would connect with a client, and then they would tell you what they need in terms of digital marketing services, and then you get someone on Fiverr to do the service for you. So you'd be sort of like the middleman. I did not understand that clients will not just come to you and tell you, this is my problem, help me, right? You need to pry it out of them, and you need to be like a consultant towards them, so that you can find out exactly what they're going through and how best to help them. So I eventually ended up in this position where I saw that I had to learn a little bit more about marketing and sales in order for me to advise my clients, so that I can be able to connect the entire value chain. So that's a little bit about how I started. It was in the failures that I was seeing that, okay, maybe it doesn't work this way. Let me find another way in which I can make it work. So in doing that, I eventually got into the digital marketing space. I saw that this value chain is not simply just not going to work. I'm going to need to do the work myself in order for me to best understand it. To be so dangerous that if I was to hire someone else, I would be able to know if they were playing with me or not, to know exactly how the process is, what is supposed to be done. So that was the journey in which I took to start my venture as being an entrepreneur. It was very difficult, though. The first year, I got absolutely no clients. It was a process of failing, trying new things. I spent about 10,000 rands of my own money, not just my own money, but then my friends who helped to invest into the business and whatnot. It was very difficult. But then all this, mind you, during the pandemic and during online school, was very difficult. But I pushed through. I persevered. I had a couple of late nights, but it was very exciting. It was the most exciting thing I've ever done in my entire life.
You're very modest. You're very modest for saying that you had a couple of sleepless nights. I mean, I know that you had more than just a couple of sleepless nights, but that's great, man. Because what I'm listening here is that there is an element of self-education here.
Yeah, 100%.
And that is something I feel many people are not really willing to go that route, because once they face a challenge, it's like, oh my gosh, I don't know how to complete a sales process. I don't know how to put someone in a funnel and close the deal. And so generally also these things take time, 100%. Even for a pro to close a deal can take months. And for you being able to get into that space and not being discouraged is something that I totally commend. I am going to pull another comment that we've just received from Facebook, and it's coming from, I think, that smell says you know this person. And can you pronounce the name, because I don't want to butcher it.
It's Mashilwani Risa. Yeah, Risa. His name is Risa.
Risa. Okay, Risa says, as a friend and a brother, I'm really proud and inspired. An inspired man, keep pushing. The inspiration is for all of us, really. And do you realize that the word inspiration is the key word here? Every comment involves that word. So this also should really help you understand that there is
Yeah.
inspiration in what you're doing. So when you do face challenges, always remember this.
Yeah.
Always remember that my journey is not just for me; it's also inspiring other people. And by you keeping that fire, you are also sharing the fire with others. It's like a candle that
100%.
lights others, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, so we have talked about your first step. This was your first step of realizing, okay, just by watching the videos you realize, okay, this is something I could potentially also do. And
Hmm.
although you didn't have information, you went in it and you started learning from it. I
Yeah.
relate a lot to that because I also have a digital marketing agency, and
Hmm.
I got into it, I think, just the same way, except I was on LinkedIn and I was taking up LinkedIn courses, and I
Hmm.
took up this course called um, Start a Digital Marketing Agency
Yeah.
Concept to Launch. And as I was going through that, I'd already been in the space of social media, helping friends, family members. I was already volunteering for a TV show, but then I never had the idea of starting a business.
Yeah.
And well, that course inspired me, and the good thing about it is that it also came with resources. So there were downloadable resources that I could use to set
Yeah.
things up. Great, man. The course was great, the info was great. Then came me putting that into practice. Um,
Yeah. It wasn't.
yeah, it
It was
was
also
it was
rainbows.
more like a postgraduate degree that I was taking literally by myself.
Yeah.
Just from lessons, so many lessons that have educated. And since we are really unpacking education within this space, I would really say the main type of education that an entrepreneur needs to focus on is self-learning, self-improvement, because that is the best way for you to solve the kinds of challenges you face. Because if you want to wait for someone else to come and tell you, they might not understand really what challenges you face within your business, right? So it is very important that we are able to self learn on our own, but then we cannot neglect the fact that academic institutions have got a mandate and a responsibility to produce graduates who have got an entrepreneurial mind. So I'd
Mhm.
ask, from your experience, since I'm Zimbabwean and you're South African, and we are both in Southern Africa, and we are on a Connect Southern Africa platform right now, I would say in my journey growing up, the education system didn't inspire me to become an entrepreneur. It was
Yeah.
more life challenges and not being able to find employment, and then thinking, okay, am I just gonna sit then? What can I do? And
Yeah.
also with me, I was in employment, like I was employed, full-time job, everything, but also not being satisfied, not being fulfilled. And
Yeah.
that is what actually drove me there. Would you say within the South African education system that there is an element of encouraging young people to become entrepreneurs?
No, I think the answer is no. But for me, I think it really helped me. I've always been an open book. I always saw things, so everyone is someone to potentially learn from. So, in my regard, my teachers really helped me a lot in inspiring me and in motivating me, not just them, but then my friends and family. It wasn't really the education system that did so. I always felt held back by the education system. Actually, one of the reasons why I decided to start my business, even being at school, I saw that I was being held back, and I thought maybe I could just jump in and start. Um, the South African education is really poor in motivating people in pursuing entrepreneurship, not just the South African education system, but then a whole region of South Africa it's very poor. We're pushed into this idea of you need to do this and then you'll get a job. Never once. I once made a WhatsApp post and I got a huge reaction from my friends regarding it. I said in the post that at school I was taught how to write a CV. I was never taught how to write a business plan. So that alone can tell you and show you exactly how we are made to think that the next step is finding a job. I don't think the next step is finding a job at all. With 30% unemployment, one of the highest in the world, right, for youth unemployment. That's a staggering number, very terrible. I think we need to get out of this idea of finding a job and get into this idea of us creating jobs, because a lot of us, our dreams are connected not just to our ambitions and everything of such sort, they're also connected to other people's dreams. So by you actually not pursuing your dreams, this interview would not be happening today. If you do not pursue your ambitions, you would just stay in your job. None of this would be happening. A lot of people that joined you on your journey, they would be nowhere without you, right? Or they would be in a worse place, or different circumstances. So I think in this setting of South Africa, we really need to push this idea of starting something, of being an employer, pushing towards something like that. And it's not a linear route, to be honest. So it's going to be it's not for everyone, that's for sure. But then we need those people who are willing to take the risk and very young and can take a few punches and get back up. We need all of them to stand up and start some things. It doesn't have to be this grandiose thing that you can't achieve. Just start small but think big. Start small, think big, and grow as you develop and as you learn new things, which is a very great component in self-development and self-education. So going back to your question, does our education system teach that we should pursue entrepreneurship or this sort of thing? I don't believe so. I don't believe so at all.
Absolutely. I agree with you. I think there's
Mm.
more that the education needs to do, the education systems need to do.
Yeah,
And I think also it touches on policy as well, from a policy
100%.
level. I think, yeah, policymakers need to start really making an effort at inspiring, young people. And obviously, we're not saying everybody needs to become an entrepreneur, because we entrepreneurs also need people to help us bring
Yeah,
the ideas to life, and
um,
I just think that more options needs to be put on the table, so if
yeah,
I'm being exposed to the idea of getting a job, can you also expose me to the idea of me becoming an entrepreneur? And that
yeah.
could be a creative entrepreneur, maybe a sportsman,
Hmm.
maybe a musician. It could be, me selling services, it could be me selling products. But those are
Yeah,
some of the things that we feel that they are lacking within the education system. And I hope, you
100%.
know these conversations that we are having here can be found in the future, maybe not today, but when someone looks up, maybe they can see this and they're in a position to make the decisions. This is where we have got
Yeah.
an influx of comments that have come in. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to reintroduce the chat and then get into these comments. Then we go back into the conversation. So if you're just
Or,
joining us, welcome to the conversation. This is a GEW live interview, and we are here with Sizwe Maduna, who is the Chief Digital Officer at Space. Space was previously known as Everboard.
yeah,
Sizwe is an 18-year-old. I have to mention your age because it's like that's your value proposition, because
yeah,
you have achieved what others have not been able to at your age. So you need to take pride in it. You don't have to be shy about it or hide the fact. I know that in most spaces you have to seem much older and you have to perform in a different way, because the honest truth is
true,
that there is age prejudice and people will judge you based on your age. But I want you
true.
to own it. I want you to own it, and
Thank
that's
you.
my encouragement to you. And so now let's move in and check out some of the comments that we have. So I'm
Hmm.
pulling in a comment now. This one is coming from Marika Haynes, who says, "Brilliant, amazing." I wish I knew I don't know if it's a female or male, so I'm just gonna say I
Yeah,
wish I
it's
knew their
actually
voice so that
one
I
of my
can.
teachers. Actually, one
Was
of
it your
my
teacher?
great teachers. Yeah, very, very inspirational person in my life. Has she's
Oh,
been a great support to me. Yeah, it's Marisha Haynes. Yeah, brilliant person.
brilliant, brilliant. And she says there's so much to learn from this young man, which I agree with her. Thank you so much for being part of the conversation, Miss Marika Haynes. Marisha Haynes,
Mhm.
that's how to pronounce it. I am so bad at pronouncing people's names, and people must just kind of find it in their hearts to forgive me and love me for it. Still, our second comment is coming from Bonakalani Thursday Mbunkele. I know Vanakalani from LinkedIn. Thank you so much for being part of the conversation, Vona. He says taking few punches to become an entrepreneur, not an employee. Words of wisdom. Yeah, I felt that as well. Thank you so much for sharing that, Sizwe. We've got another comment again. Like I told you, we've got an influx of comment, and this is coming from Brandon Elijah. And it says the conversation about school system that doesn't inspire or encourage entrepreneurship for the youngsters that want to make a difference. What is it that you wish you knew when you were 16? So this is a question to you, Ben, to you, Sizwe. What is it that you
Oof.
wish you knew when you were 16? 2 years
What I
ago, what
wish,
is it that you wish you knew?
what I wish I knew, and I wish I knew that I didn't know it all. That's one thing I wish I knew. I actually, as what we was discussing with Mish, my CEO. So I had this idea that I knew it all, which became a very terrible thing for me in starting out, because I feel like it limited me from learning to the best of my ability or potential, if you will. So if only I had knew that I don't know it all, and we I think it's something that's normal for people my age. You know, when you're a teenager, you think that you know it all. You know, you think you're the guy that can go and run Apple because it's so easy. But then it comes into in creating your first PowerPoint slide, you see that you don't know it all. You just it's just creating your first PowerPoint slide. You see you do not know it all. There's so much to learn, and going. I feel like going into interviews with clients and all these funds and partners, I see that I in fact did not know it all. So I actually learned that recently, about a month ago or a few weeks ago. That's when it actually dawned on me that I really did not know anything. So accepting and knowing that you do not know it all, it could be a great first step to learning so much, and just taking that first initiative will do you a great deal. Yeah.
Absolutely. I don't blame you, Sizwe. You know, those YouTube videos can really get you to that place, eh? Because
Yeah.
you do take a lot of information
You think?
and you
Yeah.
do
Oh,
get to that
yeah.
place. You do get to that place. But I commend you on the
Yeah.
maturity to realize that, and for the willingness, to actually be honest with yourself and say, okay, I actually
Yeah.
don't know it all. Although you know quite a bunch,
Yeah.
there's always something to learn. So that's kudos
Very
to you
true.
for
Very true.
doing that. So
Yeah.
let's just move back into our conversation
Yeah.
and continue on this conversation around education,
Hmm.
and is governments in Africa, in Southern Africa specifically, doing enough to inspire young people and graduates to get involved? So one of the things that we made sure that we did within this Global Entrepreneurship Week was to invite universities to also speak on what they're actually doing. And I'm happy to say that there is some improvement. We are not where we want to be, but there has been tremendous improvement. We especially with more and more of us getting our work into the fact that if we really want to create generational wealth, then
Yeah.
we might want to look at building businesses that can go
Hmm.
beyond our time, but also to invest whatever we get from those businesses, and
Hmm.
create wealth that will still take care of those that come after us. So my next question would be, if it was up to you, say you were a policymaker, what would you change in terms of getting more and more people educated about entrepreneurship?
Oof. Well, that's a very good one. What would I change? Hmm. I guess one thing that is, I'd say, oh, let me think about this one. That's a very good one. What would I change? There's so much to change, but then I th- I think that the thing that would make the most impact is something that is very difficult for anyone to change, even a policymaker to change. I think um, it's something that's been very difficult for even people in organizations to be able to do, and that's really culture. I think the culture of our country is what's missing in terms of creating this huge African giant that we should aspire to be. They're not just an African giant, but a global giant. So I think like for example, what we do in our organization is that there's been this huge disconnect for many years between management and the bottom, right? So strategy execution has been a very terrible thing in organizations. They've been one of the key problems, major problems in organizations today. They are unable to, the top is unable to get access to the bottom, and the bottom doesn't have access to the top as well. So strategy execution becomes very difficult in those circumstances, often to the point where organizations need to defy physics in order to be able to do these um, to do anything really, to be able to execute on strategy, to be able to create new products for their customers, or to create a culture that surrounds the customer, is able to be able to better drive the economy and whatnot. So what we did, we created this platform we call Space, where we allow management to co-create with its employees. So what it does is it allows the bottom to be able to give off their opinions and to increase ideation, and then management is able to idea kill and execute on those ideas. So it aligns the entire organization to a single point. And I think in our country, culture is a very huge problem. I think the mentality of people is the thing that we would need to change, but it will take everyone to be able to do that. I don't think any policy would be able to change that. There is no policy, but I think perhaps someone who will be able to come up and stand and stand up for the people and be able to lead them and to align them to a single goal and cause will be a very, very amazing thing to happen for our country. But I think if I was able to do that, I'll do it. But I think I am able to do that. I wish
Change the
uh,
culture.
I can do that for lots of people with my story. So maybe my story will be able to impact other people,
Yes.
and they'll be able to align to that goal and change the entire culture of the country, so we can push an economy that can be able to create products. And one of my great inspirations is Germany. Their culture there is super, super amazing. They have 1% of the world's workforce, but they have 10% of the global exports. Now that says something. And if you go deeper into that culture, they are a country that creates things. They still create things. They have some of the finest engineers, and they create these marvelous gadgets and this fine piece of technologies. And the main thing is they create things. They have that culture of creating things. South Africa is more of a consumer society, and changing that culture and becoming a society that creates things for the world, I think that can be something that will really be able to help our country. So perhaps,
Value addition. I
yeah, so
agree.
perhaps
Yeah.
what government could be able to do is maybe create policies that incentivize people to become entrepreneurs and to be able to pursue those dreams. Make it easier. It's very difficult for people in this country to be able to do that. So perhaps making the country a bit more business friendly would be the best thing to do.
Absolutely, I agree with you. I mean, when I look at, because I have been in different African countries, I can tell you it's actually worse in other countries than it is in South Africa in terms of access
Mhm.
to, starting businesses. Oh, by the way, you are the Mr. President. You are the Mr. President. I think you would make a good leader. Also,
Thank
that
you.
is not for everyone as well. So yeah, I think now we are actually past our time. Can you believe it? Can you
Going
believe that we
far
are
so
past our
quickly.
time?
I didn't even
It
notice.
it
Yeah.
yeah, right. It feels like we just got started.
Yeah.
But I mean, like this has been quite an amazing conversation. Just looking at all the
Thank you.
different, um, you know, possibilities that are there to improve on entrepreneurship education
Yeah.
within the African context. And I'm just setting up now so that I can share your details for that those that would want to get in touch with you. So I've just put on the screen now your both your email addresses. So the one on top says Sizwe at everboard.com, and the second one says Sizwe at space with a double C.com. Okay, so the
Oh,
both
sorry,
of
it's
them get to
space.io. Pardon me. Space.io.
.io. So let me just change that
Mm.
quickly,
All
and
right.
then we can show the right thing. So that's .io. Tell me more
Yes,
about
yes.
this .io. So does this represent a country or what?
No, it's just a, domain name that we were able to acquire. Space.com was a very expensive alternative, so that was not going to be able
Oh,
to work out for us. So it was one of the better and cheaper alternatives that we could
option.
afford, and
Okay.
it's just way catchy and easy to remember.
Yeah, and I've seen a lot of tech startups are using it, so I must
Yeah,
also do a little bit of research on what that is. But Sizwe, man, this has been quite an incredible, chat. I am
thank,
inspired by your journey and your story, and I
thank
mean, this
you.
is just one of the many live interviews that we are going to have together. Possibly we could be on the same panel when there's someone else interviewing us.
That would be
I
lovely.
really I believe that that would be fun. And I'm just so grateful for everyone who has joined the live today and who has, engaged with us, all the comments that came through. We really are grateful for that. Get in touch with Sizwe. If your company is looking for a solution that helps you create together, from the bottom to the top or from the top to the bottom to get everybody involved. So, Sizwe, just one question: has your
Yes.
company then? Because I thought you were onboarding people. Now you're talking about co-creating. Has something changed?
Yeah. So yeah, our value proposition has changed a great deal. So we saw a great gap in the market that was not being addressed. So 70% of digital transformation strategies have been failing, and those numbers are those are pre-COVID numbers. Numbers now looking at between 80 to 90% of digital transformation strategies failing, and because of that, our product was essentially we did onboarding at first, but then that market did not work out so well. But then we shifted towards a position where we constantly re-onboarded current employees within an organization, so that they can be able to co-create with it, with management, and be able to really push purpose-driven organization. So what we essentially did was we migrated and shifted our value proposition. So now we serve this market of digital transformation. So we help leaders to be able to co-create with their employees so that they can better execute on strategies and that they can be able to push a more purpose-driven organization. And for the first time ever, we have created a platform that allows management to be able to track employees throughout throughout the change journey. Actually, they're able to measure and scale it for the first time. So it's been pretty exciting. We just partnered with PwC. They'll be a partner to go global with, and we also partner with
Wow.
IBM, which is very exciting. So right now, our next step is to go global, and we're very excited about that. We have a very driven team. It's very exciting working with them, and we're all learning so much. And it's all a dream for me. It's all a dream. So yeah, that's what we do.
And what dreams do is that they come true. Hey, so I'm wishing you all the best
Thank you.
with your endeavors at Space, and with your studies as you are finishing up.
Thank you.
Just stay calm. Stay calm. You only have a few weeks left, 3 weeks, and then
Yeah,
you are.
yeah. Only a few weeks left, and
Thank
yeah.
you so much for joining me, Sizwe. I had
Thank you for
fun
having me.
with you
Thank you for
here.
having me.
If you have any last words, you can share those, and then we can finish.
I'm fine, thank you. I'm fine, thank you. Thank you for everyone
Thank you
that
so
came
much,
through
Sizwe.
and watched us. Yeah. Have
Thank
a
you.
good one,
Thank you to
Ashley.
everyone. Bye for now, Sizwe. Thank you, everyone, for joining us. This was quite an exciting chat with Sizwe Maduna, who is the Chief Digital Officer at Space, previously known as Everboard. And we were unpacking the um, Global Entrepreneurship Week theme, education. We did touch on policy a little bit as well. And my takeaways from this conversation were on, when I asked Sizwe what he would do if there's anything that he would change, and he spoke on culture, a change of culture. And I think it is such a valid point, because once the culture changes, its people also change. So that was quite something I took from the conversation. And It's something I'm even going to implement also even within my own businesses to change the culture, so that it benefits us all. I would really like to thank you for joining this live. I will be doing more of these. This is the last live that we have on the Global Entrepreneurship Week theme. Today was our last day of doing the event. We have been doing it since Monday. We recorded all the videos and we'll be sharing links soon. So you can get in touch with me at business@ashleymumpawa.com. That's where I'm found, and we can take this conversation off of the live platform into the emails and possibly WhatsApp as well. My name is Ashley Mfawa, and you have been a marvelous audience. I will see you again on the next one. It's bye for now.